Hi everyone, this is Sally Harris, and today I want to address a question that I get all the time, and that is, how do I stop trying to control my adult child? So, as a mom of an adult child that is struggling in one way or another, whether it's disrespect or it's an addiction, could be a myriad of things, I want you to know that you are not responsible for their decisions, nor are you in control. And those two things can be difficult to get your head around. But once you do, sometimes it takes a lot of work, and some of you maybe are already there. You are responsible on how you react. You're responsible on if you enable them. You're responsible if you don't have boundaries around them. And you're responsible for allowing them to treat you with disrespect. That's what you're responsible for. You're not responsible for their reactions to those things. So I have 3 tips for you around how to stop trying to control their life. And before I get started, if you are new here, new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. I am a mom who has walked this path, and I help other moms through group coaching and one-on-one coaching, but I believe that every mom deserves a support system in one way or another. So number 1 is realize. We have to realize that we can help shape them and we can influence our children, but you cannot control them. One thing I can promise you is that if you, and some of you have probably already realized this, when you're trying to control your child, you are pushing them away. So if you're controlling them, I guarantee that your relationship is fractured in some way or another. Communication probably isn't good because you're trying to fix their problems. And they are adults. We're not talking about 14-year-olds here. We're talking about adult children. So number 1 is to realize. You have to realize that you are not in control and that your job is to not control them, or you will, if you haven't already, that will fracture the relationship. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but it certainly does not help. And when you stop doing that, it's amazing at how things can turn around. Number 2 is accept. We have this baby, and some of you may have heard me say this before, but we have this child, and for 18 years, we're molding and shaping them, and we're teaching and guiding them, and that's our job. And then all of a sudden, our role changes, right? So we give this unsolicited advice while they're growing up, and we even override some choices if it's in their best interest. So these are their choices now, though. And so our job, because I know we still want to help, we want to share our experience, but if it's unsolicited advice, that's not good. There's nothing wrong with sharing opinions and advice when it's welcomed, right? That's the big difference, is when it's welcomed. In fact, I want to read you a quote by John Maxwell. It says, "You can equip and train them, but if you don't release them, they'll never reach their full potential." So in other words, teaching them but keeping control on them is not doing anything good for them. It's not allowing them to reach their full potential. And so that was a very interesting quote. I love that. It's so true. It's true in a lot of things in life, but when it comes to our kids, it's huge. So we need to realize, we need to accept. And the last one is support. We need to get to a point, and this is easier to do with a child that maybe is not having the issues. However, you will get to the point where you need to treat your adult child almost as a friend versus a mom who's giving advice all the time. So more than likely, you're probably not trying to control your friends, right? You probably have relationships where it's, the communication is good, and it's, your friends may ask for advice, you ask for advice, etc. It's like a two-way street. With an adult child, if you're constantly just giving advice without being asked for that, it's really a one-way conversation, isn't it? And it usually doesn't end up well on the other side. So you need to lower your expectations too of how often maybe they're communicating with you, or how often they're coming over, what your relationship looks like. It might not be what you had envisioned for your relationship with your adult child. It doesn't mean it's wrong. And you're going to go through seasons. There's going to be times where they'll be around a lot, and then there'll be times where they're doing their own thing. Always just let them know that they're loved, And you hopefully have an open door policy where if they're in a healthy place, you can do that. If not, then that's where you put the boundaries up. So biting your tongue is a wonderful thing to do. There's times where you need to bite your tongue. I know that you want to reply and you want to say something and you don't agree with something, but we have to learn to bite our tongue and to be able to let them live their life. Now, unless you see something in extreme danger, obviously, when it comes to health, life or death type situations, those types of things are different. There's times where you're going to be involved, right? But on an everyday basis, you really need to be selective on what you are sharing with them, the unsolicited advice, and being able to bite your tongue and not do that, and if they're not asking for it. So I hope that helps, but those are 3 tips, kind of high level ways on which you can start not controlling your adult child. So I encourage you to think on these things. If you're interested in setting up a chat with me, the link below to my calendar, feel free to book something on there. I would love to talk to you about your situation and see if coaching would be of benefit to you. So I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.